Hello YouTubes, I was recently gifted 4 exquisite locomotives from Matthew's Model Trains, and so far I've converted 3 of them to DCC. First up we have this gorgeous nickel plate road PA1. This was a 21 pin decoder, took me a wee bit longer to get this one. Next up we have this simply gorgeous Atlantic Coastline E6, 7, 8, I don't know. One day I'll know what they all are. I absolutely love this thing, need some coaches. And number 3, we have this immaculate Hustle Muscle Great Northern SD45. I think I got that one right. Off you go. Which means we have one left to do, and it's a big one. Union Pacific DD40. Might need 2 decoders for this because it's got 2 motors, but let's get into it and find out. Over to the bench. So I did a little investigation into do I require 1 or 2 decoders. Turns out that from what I've seen online, you need peak ampage of around about 1.5 or more. And these TCS T4 LEDs decoders that I'm using, they peak at 2 amps. So I think we'll be fine. Worst case scenario, I blow up a decoder, have to start again, but I think we'll be okay. Right, let's get into this behemoth. So this is a Bachmann split frame job, as you'll see from the underside. You see the gap there, 2 sides, left and right, pick up the power from the track. And you can see these little holes here on the side of the body. That kind of looks like an athern that you pull them apart and pull it up, but no. We have to remove this fuel tank cover, and I believe there's screws on the underside holding the body on. I need to find my big spongy thing, hold on. One big spongy thing. I'm glad I made it quite this long. Right, let us see if I'm correct in my assumption. These 2 screws, see what's underneath. Ta-da! Oh, it's actually 4 screws. One there, and there. Let me get them off. And finally, I want to remove coupler from the back. And we should be good for shell removal. Ooh, what was that? I heard a noise. We will never know. Right. Wow, that's a big body. Before I cast this aside, let's have a look at it on the inside, because we need to figure out some lighting before we go any further. Alright, inside the body we have a very long power bar for the lights. Pick up there, you see these 2 connectors there? We're not going to be using any of that. So I will be removing all of that. Goodness, goes all the way along. Oh my goodness. So I will be adding an LED at the back, away down there. LED at the front, down there. This also has a flashing beacon. Now, this is probably triggered with this whole circuit board on the top, but these what are they called? Decoders. The decoders have got flash and light functions, so we don't need any of that. It's built into the decoder. So yes, a couple of screws to hold that in. One there, one there. Remove that. I see someone, possibly Matthew's, added some extra weights here, which is fine. Okay, I know roughly what I'm doing with that. Let's move on with this. We have a couple of very chunky motors, which I really like, but they both need to be isolated. And I'm sure this is not your first decoder install, I hope. Oh my goodness, we have a bit of over-oiling issue there. So both the trucks are going to need a bit of a clean-up. That was probably me, to be honest. I'm a wee bit generous with the lubing when I first get a loco. Anyway, I'll need to be removing both the motors. You see those little brass contacts? They need to be snipped off because we want to isolate them, pick up the power from each side of the frame, goes to the decoder, and then we're going to have two positives, one going to each of the motor and two negatives, one going to each of the motor. So it's not that much different from a regular install. We're just doubling up the power into the motor. Now, how do we get this apart? Now, you might be wondering how I'm going to pick up the power. I do actually have a cunning plan for that, which I tested on, I think it was the Hustle Muscle Loco was a split frame, and it works great. So I think you're going to be quite impressed with my ingenuity. The reason I've not started this yet is I'm trying to figure out where to put the decoder because I don't know how much room I've got. Let's just have a wee look at the body. See how much height we've got. It's going to sit roughly there. I think there should be enough height, but failing that, we can always add a little bridge from there to there and attach the decoder on the underside. But first thing we'll try is directly on the top. Right, let's get this apart. Let's begin by removing our trucks. Little screw in the top, drops down, don't lose that screw. Sometimes it stays in there, same the other side. And these things are never on mega tight, so I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, so that's the front with the bigger gap compared to there. This one's the front, this one's the rear. That's important, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's important. Okay, let's give it another wee shake, see if these screws are coming out. They're not. Next thing we have to think about is the motor configuration, or motors configuration. Because although they are the same type of motor, they're kind of reversed. So I'm thinking that when we wire these up, we're almost doing a diagonal wiring, but we'll see when we get into these little clips and how they're touching the frames. Right, what I was talking about with regards to picking up power from the track, this is where it gets clever because I'm a genius. The frame is held together by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little screws holding the two halves together. But in between the halves, there's a little plastic insulator, okay? So we have a sort of plastic sleeve that goes through, plastic insulator in the middle, but these are metal screws. At either side of these top plates, if you like, these ones here, that's metal, that's metal. So anywhere on this side would be the right hand pickup, anywhere on that side would be the left hand pickup. So I have devised a way of picking up the power from either side with minimal effort and zero mess. Don't have to drill into anything, we just have to pick up the power from there and there, but I'll get into that later. Right, let's get this apart. Just to avoid future confusion, I'm just going to mark the right hand rail with a red dot right there so that we know which way. I'll do the same here as well, just so we know which way we're going to be wiring these motors. Okay, let me find the lid. Scott, let me take these screws off. Oh, there's a lid. Now, be warned, all sorts of spacers and insulators are going to fly off, but they can only really go in one place. So that is the top mount for the front truck. Okay, minimal damage so far. That's the top connector swivelly thing for the rear truck. Let's put them aside for now. I know where they go. They're both the same. Let's see, any loose parts here? Yep, there's a wee screw. Should be one more screw here that didn't come out earlier. That wants to stay in for now. No more insulators there, so let's move that side for now. Have a look at this. So let us see then. This will be... Oh, more things falling off. Don't worry, I know where they go. I'll show you later. There's one of those little plastic insulators I'm talking about. There's one on each of, well, normally there's one in each of these little, oh my goodness, the motor's falling out. Let's get you back in. There for now. It's all falling apart. Right, bear with me a wee second. I need to get my head together here. Okay, I was starting to panic there. So we are back to where we were before we removed that side of the frame, okay? The side I removed is the right rail. So the power from the right rail is going through that tab there, and it's going through that tab there. And see how they are, one's at the bottom, one's at the top? That's important to remember. So I'm just going to put a little red dot here and here for the right rail, red right rail, okay? And on this one, it's picking up power from there, which is going to the top this time. Red dot there, red dot there. And this is important because when it comes to wiring the decoder, normally you wire the orange and the grey wire to the decoder. Orange will go to the red roughly. So an orange wire is going to go to that one, but it's also going to go to that one. You see that little arrow there? That points skyward, and there should be one here also pointing skyward. That's how we remember which way around they go. Okay, we've got our head around that. Let's get these out the way. Move this just up to there for now. Move on to the next process because I'm going to be removing these little brass tabs. What we're doing here is isolating the motors from the chassis or the frame. Snip that there. Do the same with the top one, because the motors are going to get their power from the decoder instead of from the frame. One done. Two done, and I'm just trying to keep these the correct orientation so we don't forget. Next step is I am going to solder on some of the correct colour wiring. So from the decoder, it's going to be orange and grey going to the positive and negative of the motor. So the red dots is going to be an orange wire. So I'm going to put a bit of orange wire off of that one. Bit of orange wire off of that one. While we're at it, we'll do the grey wire from the other side there. And a grey wire coming from there. Let's get some flux on these ends. And get some solder on these. I'm just going to get a little 1, 2, 3 block just so that that doesn't wobble about. Like so. These are magnetic as well, which makes it a little bit easier. And we'll get a nice blob of solder in there. Don't want to go too hot because it is in plastic, remember. Just want enough that we can attach our wire. Do all of these first. Got a little procession going on, or conveyor belt, production line, whatever you want to call it. That one over that side so we don't forget where it goes. Lovely. Okay, let's get some wires. Now, this one, remember, arrow pointing skyward. That way you can't see it from there, obviously. So that is the one on the right or towards the front of the loco. So the orange wire is going to be at the bottom. So I'm going to use a slightly longer orange wire. Because the other one's going to be at the top, it can be a bit shorter. So we'll use this long one. Better too long than too short, as they say. So we'll get a bit of orange wire attached to there. Turn that one up first. Get you one there. One orange wire on. So that one's good. Yep, wrong side. And that's why we used the red dot. What a numpty. What a numpty. Let's try that again. Orange wire to red dot. I mean, how hard can it be to remember, for goodness sake? Right, and this one, as you can see, this time I'm getting it right. Orange wire. Send you up. And get you on. Right, I will do the same with the grey wires. See you in a sec. Right, that's my motors wired up. Orange to the red dot, grey to the top, orange to the red dot, grey to the bottom this time. They sit like that. We can actually put this back together for now, because we are done with the isolating part of the operation. Let's see, that went in there. This wire can come round here. I might actually just super glue that along there to keep it neat. And this one here, again, the grey wire can probably get super glued up there to get it nice and neat, because we don't want any wires fouling. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to have to come up here, and then with the other half of the frame, it's going to have to fit in the little gap. So I think what we'll do, I'm just going to glue these in nice and snug, keep them out of the way so that nothing's fouling. And I'll see you in a wee second. Let me just remove that bit of shrapnel. See you in a wee bit when they're all glued, and we'll get the other half on. Okay then, as you can see, I've got my orange wire glued round there. That's actually sitting just below this side. There's a little ridge in there. And the grey wire you can barely see. Nice and flush. Okay, now we can get the other side back on. However, before we do that, I need to explain how I'm going to pick up power from either side of the frame. Fairly straightforward, to be honest. Let's put this back on for now, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. As I mentioned, there's a gap between the two sides of the frame so that the power doesn't short out. And all I have to do is collect power from there, and I'm going to use something like this. One on that side, in between that spacer insulator thing, and one on that side before the screw. And that will basically give me the power from the left and the right. Unfortunately, that's too big. So like I did before, and I know it works, I'm going to make my own little slidey connector things using one of these, which I have no idea what it is. I'm sure it came off a train at one point in its life. It's still a little bit on the big side. I'll use my Dremel tool, grind that down. I do need to notch out this little spacer thing, just a little smidge. This section here, just before the square section, so that that can slide over. No biggie, I've done it before, works fine. So let me get that all done, and then I'll show you the reinstallation of the frame to the frame. You know what I mean. See you in a sec. Well, I hate to be one of those people that blames their camera for all their problems, but my camera did indeed crap the bed. I finished this whole install, and then when I was uploading it to the PC, it decided it didn't want those files anymore. So it's all done. So now I'm going to take it apart and show you what I just did. The good news is, this video is going to be about 30 minutes shorter than it was intended to be. Let me get these 2 screws off and the 4 screws off from the underside and the coupler screw, and I'll get inside and show you what we've done, okay? Okie dokie. Let's get in. Oh. Something else I need to fix. That is obviously meant to be glued on there. Don't worry, I'll sort that later. Right, let's get this off. And I will try to briefly explain what I've done here, and hopefully I'll get it back together again and it'll still work. Right, starting with where we left off, I was grabbing power from each side of the frame. So I'll give you a zoom in there to show you how they turned out. So these are my little tabs that I made. One there, slotted in that side of the screw, the other tab slotted in this side of the square section of that collar. As you can see, I have mounted the decoder with blue tack on the top. My red wire pickup coming from that side, which is the right hand side of the frame, goes into the decoder. Black pickup there goes into the decoder there. My orange and grey wires coming out the decoder. Set going to that motor, set going to that motor. And then we have the lights. This is very annoying, but you'll need to reference some of my previous videos to understand how they all work, but they're all neatly glued on the insides. One for the front there, one for the beacon, and one way at the back. And I've super glued them all down nice and neat. I'm so frustrated that all my footage is gone, but that's basically how it all works. Okay, I shall put it all together again, take it over to the track, let you see if it works. Of course it works, I've already done all that, but now I need to do it again just for you guys. Right, see you at trackside. Well folks, here we go again. Well, it's the first time for you, but I've been running this thing all night, so no surprises for me. Let's go forward. Lovely and smooth. Change direction. I've already set all the CV values to make it nice and slow to accelerate and decelerate. Oh, I'm so annoyed it didn't transfer earlier on. And bring it back forward and we will do the light test, which again I've all set up in the CV settings. Right, bring you to a stop for now. Okay, front headlight. Boom, lovely. And if I change direction, he'll go off and the one at the back comes on. Trust me, I've checked. Forward again. And finally, the beacon light. Function number 1. Beaconing away. And off he goes, like a champ. Lovely and smooth. Easy peasy. To be honest, it's not much harder than doing a regular split frame DCC conversion. We just have to wire 2 motors instead of 1 and do the sort of opposite thing. Apart from that, pretty much the same. Works flawlessly, really happy with that. So that's all 4 of the trains I got from Matthew, all DCC. I will be running them on my next live stream, first live stream in a while. And I'm thinking I might change it to a Friday night since someone has stolen my Sunday slot. I hate slot stealers, only kidding. I know you guys are doing a great job on a Sunday, but I think Friday might be better for me anyway, and I'll probably start a little bit early in the evening so that you lucky chaps and chapettes over in the UK don't have to stay up all night to see my ugly mug. Right, lots of work to do on the layout. I've got my DCC stuff done for now. Time to get some more scenic work done. Take care everyone. I will see you soon.